we're going live here.
Are you going to click, Noah?
Yep, and it should be starting here very soon.
Yeah, it's a moderator.
So let's go ahead and sure and go.
How's everyone doing? Welcome back to the Wise Men Roundtable discussion. We got a very full night ahead of us, and we have a very good panel as always. Tonight we're going to have Ohio 2A. He has no picture. We have Rex from Kentucky Killary. We have Jared Dobb, who works for TA Targets. You can also find him at Keystone Carry on IG. We have Drew Hopkins, Brian from Embrace the Recoil. My name's Ben, and of course Noah will be producing tonight's show. So how y'all doing?
Well,
Good to have you guys on. Tonight's roundtable. There's a lot going on in the world. It's kind of something every day now, and we're going to cover some of those current events and how they apply to the 2A community, concealed carry holders, EDC guys, whatever you want to call us. I'm going to start right out of the gates. Dallas. I got a lot of questions on what should have you done if you were there on that street during Dallas. Now, this is a lot of us can, armchair quarterback, so to speak, but just try to give the audience what you might have done or what you might have been looking for while you were there, if you were there, when those snipers were obviously shooting at law enforcement. So we'll start out with Ohio 2A. Go ahead.
And for that one's tough because, like you kind of said, everyone can kind of just look at it afterwards and have a better idea. I hate to keep saying the same things over and over again, but you got to get out of there. If there's gunshots going on, I mean, I would either be trying to go for cover if I realize that someone's shooting from high, try to get something over my head, but if not, you just got to get as far away from the gunshot. I mean, if the police are already engaged, there's nothing really to carry.
Yep. Yeah, great point.
Oh, can you hear?
I can hear you.
But I mean, at that point, if the cops are already engaging the other shooters, you're not bringing anything to the table by pulling your gun out and shooting. All you're doing is just becoming someone shooting, not wearing a police officer's uniform.
Okay, cool. Rex, what do you think?
I agree. Like, especially since the professionals are already there, why would I need to do anything other than get myself out of the way? It's like the old question, like, why do you carry a gun? Because I can't carry a police officer? Well, if the police officers are already there, then I don't need to engage, so.
Okay, Drew?
Pretty much the same thing. Also, you can't hit what you can't see, so there'd be really no point in me pulling out my gun if I don't know who I'm shooting at, and where it's coming from. So I just get out of there, take cover, and don't become a target to the cops who are trying to, put down the threat.
Excellent point. I was going to bring that up, or I was waiting for someone to bring that up. You can't shoot what you can't see. You have no idea where anything is coming from. Not to mention, you're probably going handgun against AR, which is usually doesn't work out for anybody that has the handgun in that situation. So that's tough. I mean, get out of the way is a great point. Jared?
I think I'm going to say probably along the same lines. I guess there's no way to really know where I would have been in that situation, but
right.
Say if my family's there, my sole intent at that moment is to get my family far away from that as possible. And like Drew said, try my best to not become a target for police. And that's something that I think we touched base on last time we talked. You might have a viable option of stopping a shooter depending on where you're at and if you know where your threat's at. But if you're just amongst the crowd and you don't even know where the gunfire is coming from, that's a tough situation, I think, that any of us could get into. So that's what I would say going forward from the situation. That's tough.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, that's me. Okay. So a lot of people out there, after this all happened, they for Leos, doing promos for it. And Ryan, I'll get to your take on what you would have done, but and I'll start out with you. Does this change your perspective on carrying medical now? I mean, does it change anything? Do you want to have it on your body? I mean, do you think any differently on what you carry now after seeing what happened in Dallas? Ryan, you can start with that.
I don't think necessarily from Dallas, but you guys know I've been asking you about them. It's something that I want to get on my person or in my vehicle, because I just think, you never know, like the stuff you see, you come up on accidents or whatever, like it's just one of the things, I think a lot of people that carry concealed, they want to be able to help if they can. So
Sure.
That's another aspect of it. It's not necessarily force on force, but it's helping in those situations. So yeah, it's definitely on my next thing to get is probably from Lunar Concepts, one of those med kits.
Okay, cool. Jared, Dallas changed your perspective on what you carry every day?
Well, from talking to me, my perspective changed before that, but Dallas reinforces the reason why I invested in quality medical gear now.
Okay.
Like Ryan was saying, I ended up getting a Swift pack from Lunar Concepts, and I got some stuff from Wild Hedgehog Tactical, and I made sure that I have good first aid equipment in each one of my vehicles. I now have a good kit in my house, which I already had one in my house, but I have better supplies now. And I also have something that I can keep on body, and my wife has something she can keep on body. It's not always about jumping in and shooting a threat. Sometimes we end up in the position of responding medically, and that might be more vital than actually using our gun.
Sure, yeah. Drew, go ahead. What do you think? Any different thoughts on what you might carry after Dallas?
I definitely beefed up my my supplies. I carry stuff every day in my car. I don't usually carry a tourniquet on my person. After that, I decided I need to, so I picked up some stuff from Wild Hedgehog also. But I'm pretty good about carrying stuff in my car all the time. I keep a different medical pack in each one of my vehicles. Not that I have a ton of vehicles, but in my 2 vehicles I carry med packs, and there's a lot of stuff in there. I had some RNs and some nurses help me, and some EMTs help me put them together. And I'm not necessarily an expert on everything in those med packs, but I pack them in there in the event of someone else being on the scene that could use those items, that knows how. They're not, without those items in a time of need. So in a tragedy, supplies might not always be available, but the expertise is. And so I would like to think that if I'm going to carry medical stuff, then I'm going to carry what I know I can use and what I know someone else can use better. Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah. Rex, hit us.
I definitely downsized, actually, after Dallas.
Okay.
And the reason being, my medical kit was too big. This was my current medical kit. You can't see me. Like, it's huge. It was not something I could ever carry on my person, so I actually got one of those Wild Hedgehog EDC pocket trauma kits. And, of course, I beefed it up. I overcarry. That's just kind of my style. But, yeah, I actually downsized so that I wouldn't have an excuse not to carry it.
That's a good point. Ohio 2A?
Yeah, I still carry some medical stuff right now, and my tourniquet goes with me pretty much everywhere. But one of the biggest things, it wasn't really Dallas, but just everything this past year, I want to find training that will help with that situation. It's kind of like how Drew is saying there's the expertise there. I would like to be someone who knows how to use the equipment rather than just have it. But so me and Rex have talked about that too, trying to find somewhere somewhat local where they actually do training for it, because I think that's becoming more and more important nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually came up to a solution for that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know this is kind of weird, but I'm actually going to a volunteer fire department. A lot of times those guys have trainings for free, and I'm actually thinking about joining it. That way you get free training twice a month no matter what.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good idea.
That's an option.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I was going to say, another route people can do is at my last job, there was like an emergency response team, and it was just an easy way to get first aid training, CPR, stuff like that. But like Rex was saying, there's many different ways to try and get free training for that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, training so key. I can't. It's definitely something that's overlooked all the time because sometimes it is expensive. It's time consuming, but I mean, anyone that's taken a training course, it's rare to hear someone say, oh man, that wasn't worth it, or I shouldn't have done that. Training is so valuable, so valuable. This next question I'm going to pose to the group, and obviously I know what the answer probably will be, but if you guys could elaborate a little bit, as far as, maybe some predictions, what do you think is going to happen in the future? Is anyone in this group naive enough to think that another either terrorist attack or event like Dallas will not happen on U.S. soil before this administration leaves office? So I hope you understood that question. Will we get out of this year, out of this administration, free and clear, or more than likely, will something else happen? Ryan, let's start with you.
I don't think we'll get out of this month, unfortunately. I think it's kind of become, the style of this. I think it's breeding on itself now. It's kind of become this.
Great point, Ryan. Yep.
And the problem is, the media makes it so sensationalized. So any loner that wants to get his name out there, does this crazy shit, and then you go on. So, like I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, this stuff's gonna start happening all the time.
Yep, the environment is breeding radicalization daily. It's quite interesting. Go ahead, Jared. What do you think? I mean, I know your answer, but elaborate. Jared.
You asking me?
Jared, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't hear you for a second there. I would say I answer the same way. I do believe it's inevitable. There's a lot of reasons why I believe that.
Thank you.
But, I mean, everything from the protests to the media spin, especially the media spin on stuff, how often are you getting the truth unbiased, and how many times are they actually provoking anger and hatred? Rather, they're separating us. They're making us go against each other. So, yeah, unfortunately, I do believe with the environment of people not even taking ownership of their own safety to begin with, but then also buying into the bullcrap that's being spun around. And on top of that, all the radicalization that's going on, I really do think we won't get through the election without something crazy happening. I just don't know what it is.
Sure. Drew?
I completely agree. We're facing not just one threat, but multiple. We have economic and racial tensions building, and classes forming within our own country. It's only going to grow, and then we also have the threat of ISIS, right at our door. We're no longer knocking on the door of terrorism like we were in the last administration. Now it's knocking on our door, so it's only going to increase, in my opinion, from here on out.
Yeah. Speaking of ISIS, I saw some stat. I think ISIS had killed over 5,000 people in the month of June. That was the stat. Pretty impressive if it wasn't so evil. I mean, they're just going to keep going. They have nothing to lose. Rex, what do you think?
I think we're being manipulated. I think everything is being escalated. I don't know who's doing it, but I do know that at least I'm big on data, and I think the data points to that all the racial tension, all the police brutality, all of the war on cops is artificial, and I think it's turning into reality because we're all being divided, like Jared said, over and over. We're being pushed into separate camps, and it's only going to get worse until we wake up and look at what's actually happening.
Yeah. Ohio 2A.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear it's just going to be getting worse. When stuff like this happens, and there's certain people that are attacking us for certain reasons, but we make excuses for them, and the only solution that comes about is taking away guns from law-abiding citizens. Nothing is being done to actually solve the problem.
Right.
So I think it's very obvious. It's weird, kind of what everyone else is saying too. I think a lot of people are starting to realize, like, hey, maybe the media isn't telling us the truth right now, because what I'm seeing on the news every day is not what I'm seeing out in the world every day, and I'm all over the country nonstop, and I'm not seeing what the news keeps telling me is reality.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask the question, when you travel a lot, I mean, is that in your mind? Is that at the forefront of your mind? Am I going into an area that might be attacked next? Does that you think about that often, or elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so it is kind of different now because a couple of years ago it'd be like, oh man, am I in a bad neighborhood where there might be a shooting from people who live there, a fight or something like that might happen. But yeah, now you start thinking like, man, this is a pretty populated area. I don't know if I necessarily want to be here. But at the same time, you can't live in fear. You have to go about your life and have your head on the swivel and pay attention to what's going on around you.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I don't know if any of you saw the Director Comey speak on Killary and that situation there. Absolutely mind-boggling from my perspective. I don't know about the rest of you. And what it says to our country now, the message that it's speaking, do you guys think that has anything to play right now? And coincidentally, Dallas happens the next day after Comey speaks. You can conspiracy theory all day, but it's just so convenient, like just very convenient for her. Are we without rule of law now? What kind of message is the whole Hillary situation portraying to our country? Drew, do you want to start with this one?
Sure. I have never witnessed such an obvious display of lawlessness.
Yeah.
In our country, at least. So, basically, what we witnessed is a federal institution saying that one of our government officials committed an illegal act. They committed a crime, for sure, at least over 110 times.
Yeah.
And committed perjury also. Like they lied about it under oath. And so without a doubt, she's guilty of the illegal act. What blows my mind is that it doesn't matter if it's Hillary or Bill, or it doesn't matter who it is. They basically said that they are not going to bring any charges about her, against her. That is insane. That does not happen in any other court for any other crime. I don't know anybody, even people that get speeding tickets, that the court says, or the ruling body says, you know what, you did something wrong, but we're not going to punish you for it. There's not even a symbolic slap on the wrist for her.
No.
But we're seeing an entirely different. We're seeing the true face of the regime that runs America, in my opinion. You can conspiracy theorize all you want, but at the end of the day, you can connect dots, and you have to be blind to not connect them. And we're watching it unfold right in front of us. And we were talking about this earlier today, me and Noah and a few of these other wise men, and we're talking about if you were to watch this unfold in a film, like on a Hollywood movie, it would be so obvious to anyone watching, regardless if you're a Democrat, Republican, rich or poor, would be like, oh my gosh, this politician is full of it. They're manipulating it. The people, they've got everyone wrapped around their finger. There's something bigger going on here, and people would love the movie. But when you actually see it unfold right in front of you, we're all blind to it. It's nuts. And we're not going to learn our lesson. We've already proved that we're not going to learn our lesson as a society, by and large, until something absolutely horrible happens. So
yeah,
I'll shut up and let someone else take the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what they call a reset. I mean, we're at that point where it's, unfortunately, you're only working to save remnants of the old America. I don't think the whole kit and caboodle, and we've seen it, is now sinking, unfortunately. Rex, go ahead. What do you think about that?
Let me start off by saying I was so mad after watching it, I had to make bacon just to put myself in a better mood. Like, I was that mad. I was throwing things. I was furious. Because every single senator or whatever, every single congressman was like, you did this, 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 this. And Director Comey would be like, yeah. And then they'd be like, well, why aren't you punishing her? And they're like, well, because she's not a government employee anymore. It's like, what? And then what made me even madder was everybody played the party card. Like, it was like nobody would stop and just stand up for what was right. Everybody had to play the party card. Oh, it is. I'm getting mad again. I'm going to go make some bacon.
Easy.
What blew my mind was Comey was so calm. He just sat there and they were grilling him and railing him, and he was just like, whatever, you can't touch me, and at least I'm not going to die. The Clintons won't kill me.
That's what it was.
You know? Like, he was just sitting there cool as a cucumber. You know? Boggles my mind.
Did you see the pharmacist?
No.
Did you see the pharmacist congressman? I mean, he was like, I've only been here for 18 months. I think he's from Georgia. But he would just like, are you kidding me? That's like all he said for his entire time in letter was just, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable display. I mean, just incredible. Jared, you got anything to say?
Just bouncing off what you guys said, it's just really depressing, to be honest with you, because regardless of what her intent was, she showed us she's an idiot. Like, at the bare bones basis, she is an idiot. And she lies to our like, you can watch video after video of her lying to your face. And she proved she can't handle classified information. She proved she's a non-trustworthy individual. She proved she can't be trusted, period. And yet the American people are sitting here now. You know, it's just, it blows my mind, to be honest. I don't even know how to describe it. But I don't give a crap if she didn't intend to release classified information. She did. Like, if I'm an idiot and I do something dumb that's illegal, I get punished for it. There is no such thing as...
I didn't intend to plow into an elementary school. Yeah, well, you did.
Exactly.
You killed a bunch of kids, so goodbye. You know, like, intent.
Well, and like you were saying, I cannot fathom how this stuff happens and people are not in arms. How they are not flipped out, pissed off, and just throwing these people out, just booting everybody out that acts like that. Every progressive in office, whether they're Republican or Democrat, that's going to play these kinds of games, get them out. Like, I don't understand how we're so wrapped up in divisive partisan politics instead of waking up and saying, hey, there's douchebags in office and they're using us on both sides. So at what point, rule of law just went out the window.
Yep.
It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's gone. I mean, they did a public display of it. Yeah, Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, that was going to be one thing. Like, there's always been a level of government getting a pass. I mean, that's from the lowest level to the highest level. You know, cops don't pull over cops. You know, all those things which kind of go with a position of power. You get a lot of free passes. But I think this is the first time that you've really seen it, like, blatantly thrown in your face of, like, a free pass at the highest level. Because whether, like Jared was saying, like, whether she's, wrong on accident, she's still wrong. But you see at the level of, okay, she's now the Democratic Party's, going to be person for president. No matter who you replaced her with, you're done. You're not going to be able to get back into the race with a new candidate. So I don't know about you guys, but I never expected anything to come of anything. I mean, I never had one moment of like, she's going to get charged, because it's just not a reality. And like you saw with him talking to the Senate, they're saying, okay, did she pass classified information? He blatantly says, yes, she did do that. And then a week later, she stands by her comments that she did not do it. So you literally have the director saying she did, and then a week later, her saying she didn't. So who's right here? Because no matter which one's right, they're contradicting each other, and something should be done about it. But, you know how this stuff goes. How, a week from now, we'll be talking about something else. And it's just like, we all kind of just like, oh, yeah, she got the free pass. Let's move on. And it's unfortunate, but when you're at that level, you get a lot of favors from a lot of different people.
Can I touch on something there? Then?
Yeah, go ahead, Jared.
Ryan kind of touched on it a little bit. He didn't say it outright, but like, it makes you lose faith completely. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me
just a little bit.
It makes me sit back here, and it's like,
I didn't have faith to begin with. That's what,
well, right. That's kind of what you said. You had no faith that anything was going to happen, but that's part of why we're being so divided so easily. We have no faith in our leadership whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican.
Then, gentlemen, what is it going to take for Americans to wake the F up? I mean, what would it take? They literally can do anything they want, and they know nothing is going to happen to them. What do you do? Go ahead. Yeah.
I think Drew's got it, or somebody's got it.
Yeah.
Drew, go ahead.
So anytime, and this isn't just, this isn't specific to America, but anytime you have a ruling body that is, presiding over such an unruly body of people, you are going to have, first of all, it's going to be mass chaos. But from that, you're either going to have some type of cataclysmic event that's going to unite the people under the government, or you are going to have mass rebellion that's going to manifest itself in ways of assassinations and things like that. So either the government is going to crack down hard, or something's going to happen to pull us under their banner for protection, or I think that they are going to lose control of the situation they've been manipulating from the first place, and you are going to see these people die by the radical people that they have created.
Great point.
So we've seen that in history time and time again. That's the only reason why I can fall back on that answer.
Yep. Great point. Ohio 2A, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what everyone else is saying. Like, I just imagine how awesome it'd be to go to traffic court with like 110 violations, and then someone comes in, lists them one by one, says I was guilty, but he's fine because he didn't intend to blow through all those stop signs recklessly, or it seems kind of crazy, and I think this just kind of proves people don't care. Like this, what you're saying is, what's it going to take? I think it kind of proves it. Nothing is going to happen, because imagine someone who is supporting Hillary right now if they were in traffic court and they get charged, $200 for going 9 miles over speed limit, and then she walks in, has 110 things that she did wrong, and they let her go. They'd be pissed. But the fact that she's in office, everyone is somehow it doesn't matter. And she's the one who's preaching that she's all for equality, and she just proved that she is above everyone else.
Yep. But if you want to take a comparison from someone that might be at Hillary Clinton's level in politics, if we look at General Petraeus, I hope you guys know who that is. People say it's not the same, but why not? Because of intent? Because intent wasn't there? We've already established that intent is negligible. Why did General Petraeus not get a free pass? General Petraeus is now a felon. One of the best generals of all time is now a felon. Can't buy a gun. Forget that, and that's what we're all about. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton, she didn't even look like she broke a sweat through the whole thing. She was cool as a cucumber. She knew she was going to be fine. Anyway, I digress. Just drives me nuts. All right, let's move on. So, we talked a little bit about the climate right now, the environment of the United States. It's definitely breeding radical groups. The BLM, Black Lives Matter. I just saw a headline today. Black Lives Matter is going to be at Cleveland for the convention, and they will be fully armed. How's everyone think that's going to play out?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Let's start with you, Jared.
It's just, hey, I'm all for people, like we all are. We're all for people exercising their rights to keep and bear arms. But at what point are the radical ends of Black Lives Matter going to be called domestic terrorists? Like, I mean...
well, you're a domestic terrorist, Jared.
Well, probably by the definition of some of my superiors, that would probably be what they would call me. Some God-fearing, Constitution-believing, I must be terrible. But I don't know. I don't see that, and I believe that whether it's the Republican convention or the Democratic, I really believe that that's what they're going to use. That might be what starts this ball rolling in a bad direction. I just can't see that ending well. I mean, just I don't even know what to say. It's just it's so frustrating, and you just want the people to wake up and realize that they're being played. From both sides, you're being played. So wake up stop listening to those people and just come together. Like, it sounds corny, but seriously, you can do what you want. You know, as long as you don't infringe on my freedom, you can do what you want, and I won't infringe on your freedoms. We don't need Hillary to tell us what they are. But yeah, I don't see good stuff coming from the conventions at all.
Right. Both conventions, the other one's in Philadelphia, which is right in our backyard, and that's the Democratic one. I think that'll be much worse, actually, because these Bernie Sanders supporters are pretty pissed off. He endorsed Hillary today, which that makes perfect sense. Ryan, what do you think? The climate breeding different groups, armed people at the conventions. What do you think? How do you think that's going to work out?
I mean, I've always said it when we do these things. The media is breeding the contention itself. You know, you always get the dramatic stories that play out the best for media. So you don't get the stories of like the Black Lives, you know, the people in the community, you know, of color standing up against the Black Lives Matter movement and saying,
Sure.
Listen, you know, it's not the cops that's the problem. It's, you know, it's a bad egg. But that's the same thing with the Black Lives Matter movement. Like what the core people are trying to say is like, hey, like the way they're going about it is messed up, but they're just saying like, we don't want to keep seeing black people killed by cops, which everyone's for that. But at the same time, then you get these people that are using it to go crazy, to riot, to burn cars, to wear a shirt that says we're killing cops now. Like, but you know, you're getting the wrong image of it, but those are the images that they want you to see because it's the best story. And it's just, it's the bad eggs in the group for a lot of things. Islam, you know, Black Lives Matter, it's the bad eggs that are going to cause the problems. But going to anything armed and trying to cause a ruckus is stupid. And I think this bullshit of blocking highways needs to stop.
Ryan's got places to go.
That is, I mean, get freaking tasers on them people and get them out of there. That's just, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Noah, stop me if you get a question. Sorry, we've been going on and on, but if you get a question, stop me. Rex, what do you think? Conventions, hotspots. I mean, what do you think?
I read a study about the way people think nowadays. I think Prager University reported it as well, about how people, especially millennials, no longer think or care about facts. It's about the emotions. And so that means you have a large group of people, and it's spreading, that don't care about what's right. They don't care about what's true. They care about how they feel. They care about how their emotion goes, how they're perceived. And, you know, it's when you have groups, large groups of people rallying around points based on emotion and not on the facts, yeah, you're going to have crap like this happen. You're going to have people show up ready to fight and kill because they feel that way. But you know how easy it is to manipulate people's emotions? Like, for crying out loud, I get pumped every time I hear a Journey song. Like, that doesn't mean, like...
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Hey, can I say one thing about that emotions? The media always reports these things, like when the cop situations happen. Why is it always white cop kills black man? That right there is breeding chaos. Whether, you know, it's justified or not, just that title is causing all these problems. And those headlines come out the second it happens, before any kind of facts come through, like Rex is saying.
And the facts don't support that. That's even like a large thing. You're more likely to be raped, murdered, or die in a car wreck by a long shot than be killed or even harassed by a cop. Like, the facts don't support either end. They don't support that there's a war on cops. I think it's turning into a real one, obviously, by Dallas. But the facts, like according to the National Peace Officers Memorial Foundation, there's no spike in police deaths from murder at all. It's normal. We're all being played.
It's all perception, and perception is reality. And the media is driving that perception for everybody.
Right. And they say, okay, so you get upset about these two. How about the 15 that happen every single day in Chicago? Every single day someone dies in Chicago. How come that doesn't matter to you? It's just because of the, you know, like you're saying, it's the cop thing, which is the media hot button. So, of course, it gets the most attention. And it was funny, I was watching on CNN, and there was a bunch of people on the corner picketing, and the news reporter says, we have cameras on them, and in my experience, everyone gets wilder, louder, and crazier when there's cameras on them. And it's like, okay, but there's always cameras on them when they're doing this stuff. So it's breeding this like mob mentality every time they get together because the news crews flock to it because it's a popular story.
Yeah. Ryan, is that your new EDC blade? Is that a Cobalt? What do you got there?
Yeah.
Ah, sick, dude. All right, let's move on.
I'm gonna stipple it.
I'm gonna
no.
stipple it. All right. Okay, next question. Martial law, how far are we from it? Are we being pushed to martial law? Are we being manipulated towards? We all agree that, you know, the strings are being pulled. I mean, that's pretty safe to say. Is martial law an endgame? Yes or no? Let's start with Ohio 2A.
And that's a tough one. It's
Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to really go with that one because, yeah, that's everyone's worst fear. No one wants that to happen. But then, kind of like everyone's been saying, is maybe something will happen. They'll push us to where that is the only solution. But I think more and more people are waking up to realizing that, hey, this actually could possibly happen. These aren't crazy conspiracy theorists anymore. We're kind of seeing the writing on the wall sometimes.
Yep. Rex?
That's one of the conspiracy theories I've heard a million times, that before the election, they're going to declare martial law and call off the election. You know, but at that same time, I heard that from the same people who told me Jade Helm was the government taking over. So,
Well, they did. We just didn't
We'll
realize it.
oh yeah.
Okay, so a better question would be, Drew, this is for Drew, what would it take for martial law to be declared? Something really easy? Something pretty insane? What kind of event would have to happen for that to take place?
I don't know the minimum requirements, but I can think of at least one event that they could spin to necessitate, and that would easily be an assassination on a political figure, without a doubt. Yeah, that's for sure one method to martial law.
Okay. Jared, what do you think?
I think I would agree with Drew that that's what I would see if that, you know, without sounding like a conspiracy theorist, if that was the route that this
all right,
ended up
let me
going.
pause everybody, because everyone always does this. Well, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. Oh, would it
I'll
blow
be
your
one. I don't mind.
Yeah, would it blow anyone's mind? Would it boggle anyone's mind if Donald Trump got assassinated? Would that be like, oh wow,
I
didn't
love
see
you,
that
Ryan.
coming? Oh wow, that came out of nowhere. Like, really?
It wouldn't surprise me at all. And yeah, or Hillary for that matter.
Exactly.
You know, they're radicalizing, like I said, multiple groups of people, and I don't think that we're beyond the point where we can think that, oh, it's not by design. We're beyond that point. Like, there's just too many coincidences for that to happen. I mean, we're talking about a highly organized, highly intelligent, highly efficient governmental body. You know, we're naive to think that they're not, you know, pulling strings. You know, they're smart. They're good at what they do. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. You know, we have, you know, wealth dynasties that are very good at what they do and very well connected. I mean, I think you're only a conspiracy theorist for about 10 to 15 years after something happens, and then you were right all along. And we've seen that happen multiple times throughout American history.
Right. Yeah. So I just wanted to preface, you guys, like, this is an open forum. This is the trust tree. You know, like, go ahead, say what you want.
I don't know. I don't know if I like that, Ben.
Because, frankly, this country has crossed a plane into areas where it's not that far-fetched anymore. It really isn't. You can't turn a blind eye to it. Like I said, if Hillary or Trump were to get assassinated, or some political figure, would everyone be like, huh, well, geez, everything was going really good, and then that had to happen? No, everyone would be like, well, it's a matter of time, you know? So, Ryan, continue. What do you think? The martial law.
I think if we keep seeing these, like, quote unquote sleeper cell attacks where there's no kind of like build up to it, which is kind of what Drew and I were talking about earlier. Like, it's the easiest style of attack, really. I mean, you come in, you you create chaos, you create fear, but it doesn't take a lot of planning. You know, it's very easy to execute. You get one person in, get them a gun, and I think if you see those continuing to happen without, warning signs getting missed, the government is going to have to overrule laws, and that's what you're kind of seeing in California with them, with limiting the magazine capacities and having to turn in. It's these small things. I think if those things keep happening, they're eventually going to start passing stuff and creating more of a government rule, military-style rule, because if that keeps happening, the cry to make it happen or to eliminate it will be so loud that they're going to have to start taking crazy steps. And when it comes to conspiracy theorist stuff, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I am the guy, I don't know if you guys know World War Z, they're like, if 11 people think the same way, we always want one person to think the opposite. I try to be the person that thinks the opposite because, there is a bit of a herding mentality when it comes to population, and, the people that are smarter than the crowd tend to be the ones that are in the best position when stuff does happen. So not that you're fearful, but, it pays to kind of look at the facts and see if it's really facts or you're just kind of getting manipulated.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on another event that happened. So California just passed some pretty ridiculous gun laws, right? Everyone says, well, yeah, that's California, that's supposed to happen there. I mean, why can't they do that anywhere? Why is that not going to be the norm soon? Kind of to touch on what you said, Ryan, like they're going to have to take action,
Right.
Does anyone who wants to talk about California gun laws? I mean, it's kind of a little far back and we forgot about it already, but does anyone have any comments on the California situation? Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing I'll say is I will never turn anything in. So you've encroached on my gun laws enough. My girlfriend was asking me about that. Like, what if they did that here? I will never turn anything in. I'm not trying to be like pompous or arrogant or, banging my chest, but I'm not turning anything in. I don't own anything to a level where that you need to take it from me. I won't.
Well, they're going to give you $100 per gun, though. I mean,
I don't give a shit if they give my gun.
How you want money if you're turning in high points?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll give them my high points and my must.
I say, Ohio, how mad would you be if they made you turn in your agency?
Oh, God, I'm so pissed.
$100.
That's all. I don't get into the politics of it. I just say I'm not turning anything in, and we'll go from there.
Does anyone?
Oh yeah, and at what point do we just say that? I mean, we touched base on this in the last round table that we talked about it. At what point do you just accept the fact that you have a God-given right to defend yourself, and the Second Amendment is not limited to a certain type of weapon, a certain action of weapon, or a certain caliber of weapon? So at what point do people in these states just say, you know what, no, I don't think so. I'm going to keep this, and if you want it, you need to take it. And I know for a fact our law enforcement that's there to protect us will not do that. They can't. The people are the rule, and that's what we're losing. Like, this is government by the people, for the people. It's not by them, it's by us. I determine in my household that this is the way that I protect my home. You can get over it if you don't like it. I'm not infringing on your freedoms or your liberties, so I have a right to own this. And at what point do we, and I think we're seeing that movement begin, but again, it's time to sift through the bullcrap. It's time to look at the lawmakers that pander these legislations through office for nothing other than a power gain, and it's time for us to look them in the eyes and say, no, this is my way of defending my family. It's not given to me by you. This is a God-given right.
I saw a lot of Californians come up front. Go ahead, Noah, what'd you say?
Well, I was just going to say, it sounds an awful lot like you're talking about a democracy, though. And despite the fact that we are obviously saying that rule of law is gone the way of the dodo, the reality of our country is that it's not the people rule, it's the law that rules. That is what we are established on. That is the foundations. It's those God-given rights that are law and it's because we have everyone going. That's the whole basis of BLM. We are the majority, or the majority doesn't like us, so we are the people, and we have the right to do this. So, where do you draw that line? Because you're saying we, the people, are the ones that are going to do this, but there has to be a basis in law.
Right. Well, that's where our basis and our foundational documents of our country come in. Like, that's what I'm getting at. Your rights are sacred, and the rights listed here in this little book are what I'm building my foundation on. But it's one of those things. I get what you're saying though, because we can't have the Bubba effect and turn into anarchy. Like, we get it, but at the same time, it is our duty to resist unconstitutional infringements on our rights. Like, they're not granted by man.
I think what the struggle is when it comes to when we say where do we draw the line in the sand, it's like, okay, but what does that look like? At what point, what does it look like? Do you stop obeying the laws, and then what? You just start fighting back, and then what? Like, what does it look like? Because a lot of the people that are trying to fight back are law-abiding citizens. So at some point you have to start breaking laws if you're going to fight back, and it's kind of that herd mentality. You need strength in numbers, or else, they just pick you off, and the fight, dies down.
They black bag you.
Right.
I would highly suggest reading up on our founders and any kind of diary or correspondence that they had with each other, because they were asking the exact same questions, the exact same ones.
Yep. The people that signed the Declaration of Independence, do you know how many of those people died? Like, almost pretty quickly. They knew what they were doing. They were going to their graves. They were going to sign it, and they didn't care what happened. I think the people we have in this country, there's not many that would be willing to do that. Like, you're not going to get the majority.
And they weren't poor people either.
Yeah, but it's on a whole nother level now. If
Yes.
back then, if they could make them disappear like they can make you disappear now, it'd be a whole different narrative.
Yeah. Like I said, I was impressed that I saw Californians actually stand up publicly and say they weren't going to turn their guns in. That was really cool. That was good to see on Instagram. California's been in that battle for a long, long time, and now they basically lost. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but they've lost a lot.
Yeah.
They've lost before, and life goes on, and that's kind of the problem. Is you draw a line in the sand, and then it kind of comes down, and you're like, okay, well, maybe next time.
Right. I'll draw another line.
Yeah, the line gets farther and farther away, and then eventually you get what kind of they're getting to now is like you can have, a musket and a hatchet, and then it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it's going. Okay, so let's break into the topic of preparedness a little bit, roll it into EDC. With everything that's going on and what we've talked about, what are you guys thinking? Are you guys changing things? I know, Ryan, you've made some upgrades on guns lately. Drew, you said you beefed up some stuff. Let's talk about that. Ryan, if you want to start, what did you do lately? What did you do recently?
The thing I've changed a lot is having ammo on hand. I live in Michigan. We're a pretty chilled state when it comes to a lot of stuff, and ammo's always been pretty readily available. So when I used to go shooting, I would just go buy ammo, go shooting, shoot all the ammo, and go home. But now I've actually spent hundreds of dollars at Freedom Munitions and Stand One Armory, so I have a surplus here with me. I have magazines loaded and things like that. And then I've always had kind of I always call it a bailout bag or whatever. I've always had one of those kind of at hand where if, shit hits the fan, you just throw it in the car and you're out. But that would be my big change, ammo.
Yeah, ammo's getting kind of tight now. You're starting to see the beginning of it. And expect that to continue until after November and maybe even after that. Freedom is a great spot. I don't think anyone on this panel will argue with me that Freedom produces garbage. I've always had a good experience with them. Drew, what are some of the things you've changed or doing? What do you think about being prepared? Go ahead.
So I've always had, like I said earlier, med kits and stuff that I carry with me. I have plate carriers with level 4 and level 3 armor in them, but I haven't been as vigilant in taking those with me everywhere as I should have been. And so this past week was a huge wake-up call for me to make sure that, you know what, I always have a rifle. I always have a rifle. I always have more mags available than just what's on my body. I always have armor with me somewhere. So at least in terms of my travel, like I guess kit, if you want to call it, my travel EDC has not necessarily changed a lot, but I've just gotten more consistent with it. Like every day this week, it's been like on point. My next step is to start training with what is in my car. So, you know, I'm very proficient with an AR, but I'm not proficient with getting out of my car, getting my AR, throwing on a carrier, and going doing work. I'm just not. I'm not saying that that covers every situation that I would run across or run into, but that is one.
Right.
I've beefed up my day pack because where I live is kind of my bug out place. Like I could live here for years and no one would know. So I don't necessarily have like a bug out bag, so to speak, but I do have like survival bags that I have with me everywhere I go. 3 to 4 days worth of food and water in every vehicle, medical supplies in every vehicle. But I just started really using this day pack, which I guess is kind of like a man purse. I don't know, but it's just a plastic bag, and I beefed it up with a day's worth of food in there. So some bars. It's got water in it. It's got a purifier. It's got just some makeshift emergency shelter, whistles, fire starting stuff. It's also got an absolute butt ton of ammo in it. So it's got this pack right here. It's pretty small. I mean, it's actually really small. It always has 2 mags of AR, 2 AR mags. It's got 4 Glock 19 mags. I'm sorry, 2 Glock 17, 2 Glock 19 mags. It's got my Glock 43 with 3 mags in it currently while I'm wearing the 19. So I mean, it's beefed up and it's actually still like really light. Like the last thing I want is something heavy to lug around. So that's been my big thing is that. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. That's good. Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
I'm not prepared for anything.
I also just converted this AK that I have. I don't really use my AK all that often, but I did decide to go ahead and convert it into something that's a little bit more manageable in a vehicle or in a trunk. So, you know, this can be like something I throw in the back of my car.
Dig it. I dig it. Ohio 2A, you change your anything? What do you think?
Kind of along the same lines as Orion. I've been buying a lot of ammo, and it's just something that I want because I want to up my training more than more gear or anything like that. I'm really happy with the setup I have right now. I know you and I have talked before. I do have a plan for building an AR pistol for my car. With more and more stuff happening on the streets like they are right now, sometimes I think a pistol might not be the best option. I do like my pistols because I carry the 5.11 Moab bag with me everywhere. That thing is pretty much just loaded with ammo and med supplies. I'm actually now talking with a couple companies to find out what armor might be the best to throw in that bag.
Okay,
because
nice.
Now with more and more things happening, that and I think that might be a really good idea. But yeah, that's pretty much the AR pistol is probably the one thing that I'm changing, and I'm trying to stop buying fun guns and trying to put more money into training and more money into ammo.
Yeah, tell me about it. I think everyone's under that mantra right now, ammo and training. Speaking of training, October 1st and 2nd at Storm Mountain, we'll be doing a Minuteman course. It's a 1,500-round rifle, 350-round pistol course. We've got this course at an exceptional deal. Storm Mountain is one of the largest training facilities on the East Coast. It's located in West Virginia, and they train everybody. They train military and law enforcement, but they strongly believe in training civilians the same stuff, which is hard to find. So if any of you are interested out there in signing up for a course, it is some of the best training you'll ever get. I know Jared's been there. Jared, you got a lot out of it, right?
Oh, at Storm Mountain, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've heard Rod say it. we were down there for target stuff and everything else, and he really does run a professional operation. It isn't gun camp. You know what I mean? He's not pandering you. He really is going to push you, and all his other trainers as well.
It's a fighting school. They don't want people coming in thinking it's gun camp and we're going to shoot some paper and all sing kumbaya. Like they push you hard, which is awesome. That's what we need now. Rex, did you want to touch a little bit on preparedness, beefing up, anything like that? Did you change anything?
I mean, I've got the go bags. I've got the 3-day bags. I've always had that. I've actually beefed up my my food and my water supplies a lot. And I bought an AK, as you know. That's a big deal for me. I still have the 17, but I bought this lovely beast.
Nice.
Nice.
The chopper.
The chopper, yeah. And I ordered spray paint today, so. Woohoo.
Nice.
Join
But
the
yeah, I
club,
put a
buddy.
red dot. Yeah, I'm waiting till it gets here. But I'm super pumped to learn this thing because I'm new. I'm learning. But that's the biggest change I've made as far as preparedness is, I've gone from just thinking a pistol is all I need to, I better have something that can sling real bullets.
Right. Yeah. Rifle ballistics and pistol ballistics are two totally different things. The rules of a gunfight: bring a gun. That's the first rule of gunfighting. The second rule, or whatever it is if you can, bring a rifle. Bring two, because rifle ballistics are 10,000 times better than pistol ballistics.
You just made every troll
The
mad.
scientific fact.
Did everyone see that video in Dallas of that guy coming around the pillar and smoking that cop? Unfortunately.
I can actually throw that up real quick if you want to see it.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, Noah.
All right, give me just a second here.
And then, Noah, after you throw this clip up, I'd like you to talk a little bit about distributed defense. You're pretty good on that stuff, if you would, please.
Okay, just give me a second here.
Oh, take your time.
So while we're waiting, what is the largest ammo order that you've placed recently?
Oh, Noah and I just broke a record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
What'd
it's
you think?
Well, am I really supposed to say the amount?
I don't know. That's probably not a good idea, Ben.
Oh, you better not. You better not.
Theoretically,
If
tell
it's
us
that,
theoretically how much you would have bought if you would have bought ammo. You can go that route.
Well, it rhymes with Schmick's 1,000. So.
it's a couple of hundred.
I bought 50 from Cabela's.
Nice. Air punch. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
And I rounded up for conservation.
Here we go, guys.
Okay, here's the footage. This is pistol. All right, the cop has a handgun.
Come on, give it back to me.
Not unusual in a situation like this for a major event for a large police department to have undercover officers who would be in the crowd and commingling with the crowd so that they can give intelligence back to the people at the command center. It's quite possible that could have been one of those people in this, and it's not unusual in a situation like this for a major event for a large police department to have undercover officers who would be in the crowd and commingling with the crowd so that they can give intelligence back to the people at the command center. It's quite possible that could have been one of those people in this back and
If you're watch right here, you can see the officer.
Who is circled? The perp?
Yeah.
No, that's the cop.
No, that's the officer.
The cop is circled. The perp circles around the cop.
So right here, he comes up. He shoots
the cop.
The cop is in red. He shoots the guy in the back, and it appears he only fires off one round. Thinks that he's down or something, and then This guy was just, there was a little bit more to this clip. They actually were shooting up towards this camera, so it's why it's a little shaky. So then this guy suddenly gets around to the back. You see him right here. He turns. You can see him bringing up that rifle. And then he just jukes him, comes around behind him, and blam, blam, blam.
You can actually see the sparks hit the wall in the back from the rounds, like if it was like 8.55 or whatever he was using. But I mean, that's rifle against a handgun. That's so tough. That's really tough. That's unfortunate. I mean, that breaks my heart every time I see it. But Noah, talk a little bit about distributed defense, if you would, please.
So the concept of the distributed defense is that, I mean, honestly, it's the Second Amendment. That we have the right to keep and bear arms because of being a well-regulated militia. The idea is that we are responsible to be our own defenders, not the police officers. Police officers are law enforcement agents. We have a civil duty because of that Second Amendment. It's our civic duty as a responsible citizen to protect ourselves, to be trained and armed. Again, it goes back to what Wiseman Company is all about being prepared, being armed, being informed, and being involved. And so the distributed defense concept is that all of us are responsible for our own defense and for the defense of those that are around us. And when you do that, then law enforcement does what law enforcement does, which is enforce laws, not try and show up to protect people.
Gotcha. Good. Yeah. So, I mean, the antidote against the lone wolf would be distributed defense, because no matter where they strike, it won't matter because, I mean, it will matter, but it won't be as bad because there will be 3, 4, 10 defenders in that area to swallow up whatever is trying to be dished out. The term distributed defense, I think, should be tossed around a lot more. I think we're coming into a time where you'll see, okay, so a major town or major city's having a parade. You'll see, Second Amendment supporters just show up concealed just to be a distributed defense there. They're not paid to do it. It's a volunteer basis, but they're just there in case something happens. They're going to take it upon themselves to save lives. They're not just there because, I want to see the parade. They're saying, oh, man, something could happen at this parade, and I live near there, and I might be the distributed defense for this area. I need to show up. That's the time I think we're kind of rolling into, whether it's just a dude wearing a low pro body armor under a T-shirt and a handgun at a parade or at an event at a fair, you name it. We're coming into those times where that's what you need, because we've heard it on good authority that the lone wolf, no matter who it is, from whatever ISIS, BLM, you name it, there is nothing you can do to stop them, to predict where they're going to be, especially the ones that are becoming self-radicalized here in the United States. They don't have a cell phone trail, email trail. They just subscribe to the mantra of ISIS, and they're going to go out and do the work of ISIS, period. There's no way to predict that. So what do you have to have? A distributed defense, something that's there to take care of business when it happens. I got a good question from, hold on, guys, from Sheepdog Defense Project. He wants to know who stocks up on self-defense ammo and not just plinking ammo, and why. Does anyone particularly stock up on hollow points? I think this is what he's asking. As opposed to FMJs, stuff that you just go to the range with. Does anyone do that?
I wish I could afford to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Garrett, you do?
Oh yeah. I'm fortunate in the fact that I started reloading a couple years ago, so I actually have the ability to pump out a high volume of ammunition. But even when I did bulk orders last time, for my ammunition, I also threw in about half of my ammunition that I bought was defensive ammunition, and it's just for that reason. I mean, I know it's nothing fancy, but in my bag in the front, I keep an extra 50 rounds. I've got two 33-round magazines on me all the time, plus my two Glock 17 mags in my bag. So it is important to, I do, because I think it's more important to have that.
Yeah, and you can find deals on self-defense ammo. There's people that
Right.
liquidate. I mean, Palmetto State Armory does it all the time. They'll liquidate like Spear Gold Dot rifle and pistol, and you can get it at a pretty good price. Like pretty good price is like 50 cents a round. It's probably the best carry ammunition on the market, but you just got to really hunt for it. I think
we buy a lot of hollow point and soft point ammunition for
soft
our
point
rifles.
for rifles. Yeah, soft point's great. It's great for punching through, some barrier and holding its shape a little bit. But also when it hits a soft target, it does its job a little better than an FMJ. FMJs tend to just be like a hot pencil through a body, just poking holes. Sheepdog Defense Project said, "Go Jared." Bravo.
I could show you all the magazines if you want, because I carry plenty. We didn't even get into the blackout mags that I keep on me.
Oh, geez, you're getting them all hot and bothered. All right, so let's move on. Noah, did you have anything questions-wise or anything? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Corey wants to know from Ohio how he deals with not having all of his regular stuff when he's traversing federally controlled facilities, i.e., airports.
Great question.
I could answer that question, but it's gonna.
What did you say?
Sorry.
I said I can answer that question, but it's gonna hurt, and you're not gonna like it.
Go ahead, Perry. Ohio 2A, go. Can't hear
Sorry,
you.
so it broke up when you're asking the question. What was the question?
Go ahead, Noah. Ask the question again.
The question was, how does Ohio 2A deal with not having all his regular stuff when traversing federally controlled facilities, i.e. airports?
Oh, yeah, I just cry a lot, and I shake and break out in cold sweats. I think that's normal for most people. But we kind of talked about it at the last round table. I have my flashlight. Yep, I drink a lot, too. Thanks, Drew. And, yeah, flashlights, have that wallet that's, it's meant to be used as a blunt striking object. Hopefully the wise guy will be approved at some point for TSA, because I'd love to bring that with me. But I mean, at that point, though, when you're in something like that, so when you're in a situation where everyone is scanned before you go in, I'm not really that nervous. It's an even playing field at that point. What I don't like is when I'm in a state that says you're not allowed to carry a gun, and since I'm a law-abiding citizen, I don't carry a gun, but there's no way to know if anyone else is actually following that law. The airport really isn't that big of a deal for me personally. Yes, I'm still paying attention. Yes, I still bring my flashlight and the wallet that I can use as a striking instrument, but that's really probably one of the least of my concerns. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Can I ask Ohio 2A a follow-up to that?
Oh, go ahead, Jared.
I think it's going to be relevant. Is just, well, how does it make you feel when you see the TSA agents, when they do mock-up, say, undercover agents try to sneak bombs or fake weapons in, and a large percentage of them get through the airport? Does that then change? Now, I know you Ohio 2A, you're more prepared than a lot of us with your verse background, but does that change your personal perspective when you see how many of them can get by, potentially?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make up stats, but I'm pretty sure it's like 95% of things that are purposely passed through got through, and then they proudly show off when they confiscate a toy gun. One airport I go in a lot, seriously, it looks like a red ray gun, and like recently confiscated. Like that, you should be proud of that. You should think you're really stupid for that. Like I would not build anyone that confiscated a toy gun. It doesn't even look like a gun. It looks like a little rocket ship. I'll show you guys pictures later. But it's one of the ridiculous things ever. But that is scary, and I guess that kind of goes along with it. But I mean, there's only so much you can really do. I'm not going to be trying to pass anything through it in the hopes I get to protect myself.
Right.
At that point, you can only really, you have to roll the punches with my livelihood. I have to be in airports. It's something I have to do. You know, thinking of what other people do whose lives are really in danger all the time, it's really not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, you know, just head on a swivel, pay attention as much as you can. But yeah, I'm not going to be, I would never try to sneak something into an airport. That'd be one of the worst things you could ever do.
Let me add a point to this story. So I was in Hawaii, and you know, we go through the checkpoints, and my buddy has a Camelback full of water. So what is that? Probably like a gallon or something. So he had gone through, and they took his suntan lotion that we had a bottle of, whatever, you know, it's like 6 ounces. And then he forgot he had all the water in his Camelback, so he just put it through, and the Camelback went through. So it's like he could have brought a gallon of gasoline or whatever the hell he wanted in this backpack. And it's like, the one thing that frustrates me is people love this false perception of safety. So if you have like 90 TSA agents at the airport and all these metal detectors, they're like, wow, this place is safe. But it's the same, you know, misconception you have with a lot of places. Oh, there's a cop, we're safe. That doesn't, you know, it feels good, and it's probably a lot easier of a life to think that way than the way I think. But, you know, it's not necessarily a reality. It's just a perceived reality, and you know, that it's the same people that stop on my page and say, like a guy said today, well, what if no one had guns? And I said, I'm like, yeah, what if pizza doesn't make me fat? Like, you know, what if all these things? But that's not the reality that we live in, you know? It's like the world's a bad place, and the sooner you accept it, probably the more prepared you're going to get.
Yep, absolutely.
And also, can I make a suggestion?
Best quote of the night. What if pizza doesn't make me fat?
Trolls always throw this, like, completely non-realistic situation about, like, whoa, well, what if this? You wouldn't want a gun then. It's like, okay, valid point. But, yeah, there's a million scenarios I could throw. I said, what if I rubbed my lamp and a genie came out? Like, that'd be pretty sweet, too. Like, I gave him all these examples, and he's like, what, you don't want to have a real conversation? I'm like, okay, if no one had guns, I'd still want a gun because there's still knives, bats, bears. And he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, whatever. You know, and finally I just said,
I hope no one throws a bear at me.
I don't understand that argument because it wasn't too long ago in history that there were no guns. And look, evil still, like, ran wild, you know, except back then the people didn't have any means to stand up against their government at all. And so with the introduction of the gun, you have a great equalizer for people who can't learn how to freaking sword fight or, you know, smash someone's skull in Game of Thrones. Like, you just...
Yeah.
The fact is, the cat's out of the bag. The gun has been invented. It's not
Right.
going back, and everyone's going to have one till the end of time.
Right.
Like, it's the utopia mindset, and that's the leftist utopia mindset. Well, what if we all just gave them up? No one is going to give them. You can't wipe them all out. Okay. What if we just wiped out AIDS too? Okay, let's do that.
Drugs while we're at it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if what ifs were real, communism's a great idea. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
but it never worked.
Nope, it doesn't work.
Well, he said, he goes, his final argument was, you should not have anything that can hurt a lot of people. And I said, do you own a car? And then he stopped talking. Because it's like, you have things that can hurt a bunch of people. But it's not the thing. It's the person. And that's what no one gets is like, the things don't hurt people. The people that use the things hurt people. And that's never going to change. Whether it's guns or bombs or knives.
Pressure cookers.
People that want to if there's people that want to kill people, they're going to find a way. And like I always say, the worst death total in the last, it was 9/11. There was no guns. There was no bombs.
Right. Right. Which you just got for your EDC,
Yeah.
so you're good to go.
I have a weapon here that can kill thousands of people. And the gun in my pants is basically useless. I mean, you can't reason with, people have a mindset. It's like, you're not going to change mine. I'm not going to change yours. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I think Aaron from Sage Dynamics said it best when he said, those type of people just don't want to come to grips with their safety is their own personal responsibility. Right. They just don't want. They just can't handle it. They just don't. Nope, I can't. That's not my job. No, it is your job. Now sack up and take care of it.
Like I was saying, it's a lot easier to live in a world where you think you're safe by all these things that they put in front of you, instead of living in a world like we all live in, where it's like those things aren't going to save us when we really need it because there's not enough time.
Here's just a little. Here's just a little something for everybody.
I don't hear it, Noah.
Oh,
I see your cute face.
I see him smiling, but I can't hear anything.
Hold on.
Forest.
Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do.
Get your spirit fingers out.
So, yeah, right there.
I'll turn in all my guns. You got me.
Coming up with a soundtrack for our next shooting video.
Noah, do you have any more questions?
I do not.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add before we close the session tonight? As always, I appreciate everyone coming on the show tonight. Real quick, we'll go down the line and let everyone know where they can find you at. Ohio 2A, where's the best place to find your stuff?
At Ohio 2A on Instagram.
Okay, Rex?
At Kentucky Carey, CANETUCKEE, Carey, on Instagram.
Cool. Drew?
On Instagram, Drew Hopkins, all one word.
Jared?
You can check out some awesome steel targets at TA Targets on Instagram, or check me out at Keystone Carry.
There we go. Ryan?
Embrace the recoil on Instagram.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this roundtable discussion. We're going to continue to do this type of thing. We live in very interesting times. So, by all means, if you have questions for any of these guys, make sure you hit them up. They are a wealth of knowledge. They're all taking their own personal journey in the 2A lifestyle. We're all right there with them. If you want to contact Wiseman Company, you can check out our website, wisemancompany.com. Find us on Instagram, Wiseman Company. We got some cool products out there. Check those out as well. And we appreciate you coming to this live chat. So we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.